Welcome to On Point for another week. I'm Patria Kay.
And I'm Dennis Chung.
And we've got a lot to talk about. Yeah. Let's start out with last week, Friday's concert in Emancipation Park. Kanye West popped up on Jamaica. In days, I understand, they were able to turn around a massive concert in Emancipation Park. 120 singers came down with Kanye, a whole crew of technical folks, and we made it happen.
Yeah, you know, one thing about Jamaica, you know, is that these entertainment things, we're always good at, and we're a country at putting events together well, you know. Personally, I'm not a Kanye fan, you know. I mean, I just think the man is, you know, it's not somebody who I would look up to as a gold standard. I can see where people would be attracted to it though, because of, you know, his international reputation and that sort of thing. But I don't know how it went. How did it go? Well,
I didn't go to the event. I was dreading a couple of things. I was dreading a traffic nightmare in New Kingston. I anticipated it. Peace then proved me wrong. Or people management and traffic management skills on Friday evening
very well under Kevin Blake
was a win, absolutely. So I actually was peeping every now and again online on the online stream, and from what I could see, the quality of the production was excellent, and a lot of that kudos to Jamaican technical teams. We're talking about entities like Phase 3 Productions. We're talking about entities like Main Events, like Martin Lewis Solutions. All of these guys were able, the Ministry of Culture, you can't leave them out of the mix. They really were able to turn around this big event.
Well, remember, they do the gala every year, you know, and it's always well organized.
But the thing is, you're talking about a free concert.
Yeah.
And event managers generally, when you talk about free, you can't anticipate what the numbers are going to be like, and it takes a special kind of planning to do that. You're talking about a free concert that was turned around in about 3 or 4 days, and the kind of work that we were able to pull off, I mean, miking 120 singers and making sure they all sound good, both at the venue and on the online stream, that's no easy feat.
However, it's a Kanye. I mean, if you had a Beyonce, then you know, you'd have a nightmare. I mean, on Friday night, I was sleeping because, you know, I do my annual Kingston to Grill ride, which was on last Saturday. So on Friday night at that time, I was in
La La Land. We also have to make mention as well, just before we go, on Independence, I just said Independence, Heroes and the national celebrations. I mean, we had some people who were honored. It was really great to see some of our heroes, living heroes, get that badge of honor and cross the stage.
You know, I mean, I see people comment that some people don't deserve it, but let me tell you something. I mean, and I'm someone who, I curse the politicians and all these people every so often. Yeah. I write about it for years. But the truth is that I have a lot of respect for those people who sit in Parliament. To give up your personal time and do all of that, it's a huge sacrifice. Yeah. So I think, you know, a lot of them, when they stick to it, they do deserve it.
I say kudos to the arts people as well, 10 of them who walked away with medals, well-deserved medals. Well, in the show today, folks, for the first time in 7 years, both business and consumer confidence have fallen. That's coming out of the last published survey. We're going to be talking about that with the man who did the survey. He's been doing it for almost 20 years. Don Anderson and also Larry Watson will be here.
But first, let's take a look back at some of the top business stories of the week.
At number 5, politicians in Brazil have voted to raise the retirement age by 9 years in a bid to boost a sluggish economy. Lawmakers from across the aisle agreed to finally overhaul the pension system after years of trying to do so. The decision is expected to save the state almost $200 billion over 10 years. At number 4, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg tried to reassure skeptic US lawmakers on Wednesday over the safety of the social network's proposed digital currency Libra. At a fractious hearing in Washington, members of Congress attacked plans for the payment system, warning it could be abused by criminals and terrorists. Mr. Zuckerberg was also challenged over claims that he had lied to US regulators in the past, but he promised Libra would not be launched without government approval. At number 3, European Union leaders are set to decide on Friday whether to grant the UK a 3-month Brexit extension. Most EU nations are expected to back the extension, but reports suggest that France isn't too keen on it. There could therefore be an emergency summit in Brussels on Monday to allow leaders to reach agreement face to face. Meanwhile, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is insisting that the UK will leave the EU next week with or without a deal, and he will seek a snap election if the EU grants an extension to January. At number 2, the World Bank has given Jamaica a grant totaling $14.85 million. The grant is from the Global Risk Financing Facility (GRIF). The World Bank says the grant is to support Jamaica in expanding its financial protection against natural disaster risks. The grant represents the largest made by GRIF to a middle-income country. The grant puts the Jamaican government closer to inviting investors to take part in a catastrophe bond that could become active before the next hurricane season. And at number 1 this week, Jamaica has moved up 4 places in the World Bank's Doing Business Report rankings. The 2020 report sees Jamaica moving up from 75 to 71 out of 190 countries. Jamaica's overall score was 69.7%. The island's best ranking came in the category of starting a business, where kudos were given for reinstating next-day service for company incorporation, streamlining internal procedures, and enabling the Companies Office of Jamaica to stamp the new company's articles of incorporation at registration.
When we come back, what's behind the dip in both business and consumer confidence? We find out on point after the break.
Outsourced finance and accounting service. Growing companies face a challenge. For you to stay focused on building your business, you need solid financial management with a dependable accounting function, a resource you may not have in-house. That's where we come in. Dodgen Global provides startups and other businesses with outsourced accounting and finance solutions on a fixed fee basis. No matter what your size or fundraising status, we can tailor our services to fit your needs at every stage of your company's life cycle. Whether you want to add expertise to your existing team or completely outsource your accounting and finance functions, we offer reliable and economical options, including accounting system installations and upgrades, from simple to complex, help establishing preferred banking, legal, payroll, benefits, and HR relationships, paperless online bill payment and bookkeeping, financial reporting and advice for management and investors, financial statement audit management, sales tax compliance. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global, website https://dodgen.global.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to On Point, folks. Now, business and consumer confidence both registered a decline in the third quarter of 2019. What caused that? Let's take a look at some of those results.
For the first time in 7 years, consumer optimism is down. The latest Business and Consumer Confidence Indices survey recorded a slight decline in consumer optimism of 3.5 points, with an index of 179.9 points for the third quarter. The dip is associated with consumers' current realistic perception of business conditions and their expectations for jobs in the future. Meanwhile, business optimism also recorded a significant decline of 9.5 points, recording benefiting an index of 141.2 points from the second quarter's index of 150.7 points, mirroring the third quarter's index of 2080. While profits are better than expected, businesses are still concerned about the future of economic outlook, their financial position, and ultimately future profits, which have led to a decline in optimism about business conditions.
And joining us now to talk about these issues is the Managing Director at Market Research Services Limited, well-known pollster Don Anderson, and immediate past President of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Larry Watson.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I'll start with you, Don, because you've been looking at these numbers for, say, some 20 years now.
One
So,
short of 20.
if anybody has seen a pattern, it's
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what this dip signifies for you.
You know, we make the point constantly that the dip really is at a point where the indices are at the highest level ever, and therefore it's not something to panic about. It certainly represents a fall off after 8 consecutive quarters of increases, both consumer and business, and therefore it's something to watch. With regard to the business confidence, this is the second quarter that it has dipped. Between first quarter and second quarter, it went down by less than 1 percentage point, and this occasion it went down by 9 percentage points. And therefore, it's something that you want to watch. The consumer confidence dipped for the first time in 7 quarters. And again, we need to make the point that both these fall-offs have been at a time when the indices have been bunching together over the last 8 periods. At the highest level, it has been over the 19 years we have done this study.
So, I mean, you're right, Don. I mean, a dip or two is not a trend. Eh? The trend
No.
can still be up, but it does
Absolutely.
take a little break. But Larry, what are the business conditions that you are feeling out there? Because you're a businessman out there.
The business conditions are positive. You know, interest rates are coming down. You know, unemployment is now at the lowest ever at 7.8%. And when you look behind the numbers, one of the things that affects the confidence is the exchange rate, and
Up and down.
Up and down, and one is crime. Now, when you look back through the years as the confidence was growing, you would get the importance of the exchange rate to confidence when the rate was flying being very significant. However, when it steadies off, you find it not as significant. Now, if one was to look at 2018 when we catapulted to record high confidence, one would recall that we had the state of emergency in 2018. And at that time, crime was trending downward. Now, when January came and the state of emergency was eliminated, you see the importance of crime to both the business and consumer, pulling down the indices. And even though the state of emergencies came back, the effect on crime was not immediate. So I think you're seeing this as 2 factors that has an influence on the confidence of both business and consumers. But as Don said, it is still at the highest level ever.
Let's look at this dipstick that you've done, this snapshot in time, and taking a look at where people are in terms of confidence on both sides. What does that mean for the Jamaican economy?
You know, the business sector, they're reflecting upon where they are right now, because in the third quarter, businesses were saying profits were as good as expected. But looking forward, businesses are now saying that we don't expect to have this level, to achieve this level of profitability going forward. They're less confident about the economy going forward than they were before. Again, one has to be careful we don't then sing doom and gloom, because what it means is that, again, making the point that I already made, this is from a high, an all-time high.
But a 9% change in point
It's
change doesn't scare you? Yes.
It's significant. It is significant. It would only scare me if the next quarter we see a continuation over the time. So a trend would have set in. Right now, it's the second quarter of decline, and the first one really was negligible. So we're not too worried about that 9% fall off. We're worried about the magnitude of the fall.
Yes.
But again, if the trend continues, then we would need to really sit up and say exactly what's happening.
But Don, what are some of the reasons that business has given that they've lost confidence? Because that's important.
They tell us specifically it's the fluctuation in the US, in the exchange rate, which makes for difficult planning. You know, they're saying businesses, of course, plan long term. And when you have a dollar that's fluctuating between 137, 132, 131, whatever, it's difficult for them to plan forward. And that's one of the principal reasons. The second thing, of course, is crime. Crime is a major factor in businesses planning forward. And we need to reflect upon it against the background of the fact that businesses are still saying it's a good time to invest. But fewer businesses are making that point.
I'm going to get to crime in a bit, but I want to stay with the dollar because if you listen to the BOJ and the argument coming out of the BOJ, for them, a fluctuating dollar is healthy. That's where we want the market to be. And so you're left with this conundrum, the BOJ suggesting that one thing is the ideal situation, and that's where we're at. And the business community is saying, I'm not comfortable with your ideal.
Well, I would certainly put it in a different way. The Bank of Jamaica and the government of Jamaica has put on record that we won't have a fixed exchange rate. And what they're trying to do with inflation targeting is take the attention away from the exchange rate and putting it to inflation, which is at under 5%, at the lowest ever. Now, if one was to say what is the exchange rate with the Japanese yen or the euro, many persons would not know, even within Europe and Japan, because they look at inflation. Now, the BOJ is a subscriber to these indices, and when they look behind the data and they realize the importance of the exchange rate to confidence, this is why they came out with their television commercials that was of international repute, instilling into the consumer and into the Jamaican population that inflation targeting is a way to go and take your eye off of the exchange rate. And with that successful marketing campaign, you saw the importance of the exchange rate dip, and it was not as significant to the confidence. But the other factor that influences this 9% decline, one has to bring in now the world economy. Because within our largest trading partners, which is the US and the UK and others, in the UK you have this Brexit situation that gets people very nervous. Within the US you have trade wars that come almost every week. There's another target of trade war. So there's a nervousness within the international arena as to how is the world economy going to go. And that, against the background that the international institutions like the World Bank and the IMF has projected a decline in the growth rate on a global scale. So those coming into the equation, I think, has an influence on how business persons are looking ahead and projecting ahead, because they see rough seas ahead within the international community and our trading partners.
In the same way with tourism, there's been a relook at the rest of the world, recognizing the very things that you just talked about and our dependence on the US market or dependence on the UK market, and recognizing that risk and saying, you know what, we need to look elsewhere. Is the business community doing the same thing? Are we able to get the kind of volumes one day that we perhaps would have gotten from the United States from somewhere else?
Well, let me just comment on a point that Larry made just now. As the researcher in the hot seat right now, I must tell you that we can only talk in terms of what the businesses say are the reasons why, and what is coming forward. I'm sure that those things that Larry mentioned would have an impact somewhere along the line, but we haven't been able to measure them. They did not come out in the survey, and therefore, to respond to your question about the reasons why, we have to rely upon what we pick up in the survey and the two key factors that they mentioned, the exchange rate and crime. Now, BOJ is absolutely doing, I believe, the right thing in trying to convince the business sector that we shouldn't really look at the exchange rate and the fluctuation. You might very well have to get accustomed to this fluctuation. But that's a message that is not going to necessarily resonate immediately with the business sector.
But here's the problem I have with that. If someone look at me and tell me that that cup is a cat and the cup is a cup, then you have a problem with your message.
Absolutely.
Because when I look at my income statement every month, I see the fluctuation in the exchange rate, and I can't predict it month to month. And that's the issue I have, Because even though they're out there, and inflation targeting is the way to go, but certain countries like Japan and those countries that they talk about don't have the reliance on the exchange rate that we have. So it's not an issue.
And it's a factor. It's the number one factor mentioned by businesses. The point is that we want to plan long term, but we don't have the luxury of, and they don't necessarily want a fixed exchange rate, but something more stable than it is at the moment. Stable. When you're fluctuating between near 138 and down to whatever it is, it's difficult for them to plan, and this is what they're echoing in their comments in the survey, for sure.
Yes, and I wanted to say that, to your point, when you bring in a container, there's a weighted average exchange rate that your duties and everything is costed at, and in your financing, you have foreign exchange losses or gains depending on the movement. So I think that is a reality. I think what the inflation targeting tries to do, it is not only a buzzword inflation target, it is an attitude of the government and the Bank of Jamaica. Now the question is, should you, quote unquote, manage the exchange rate, reduce the fluctuations for a number of years till the message is sent and comprehended by the business consumer? And when you study where inflation target has been implemented, it is clear that there is some degree of back office management to ensure not too significant fluctuations in the exchange rate for a number of years, and then the consumer settle down and say, okay.
Which we aren't doing now.
Which we are not, you know,
exactly.
and it therefore has an effect on the confidence of businesses.
This campaign that the BOJ embarked upon, I believe is under the circumstances, a good one, okay? But it's going to take a while for that message to resonate and the communication to be complete enough for businesses to say, you know, this is really the way to go. So in the meantime, what's impacting them is that fluctuation in the dollar. We can't get away from it. You know, there's backroom manipulation being, and I use it advisedly, being done. But, you know, it's going to take a while for businesses to accept that inflation targeting is the way to go rather than something that we're focused on all our lives.
Some people watching this interview and saying, but the business people passing on every change in the dollar, they're passing on those costs to their customers. And so they're not quite sure why the business community might be complaining, because it isn't them who is feeling the pinch, it's the actual end user.
But it's not in isolation, you know, because consumer confidence is also down.
Yes.
And you have to ask reasons why, because they're looking at the economy as well, and they're feeling what you're talking about in terms of, you know, prices being passed on to them. And that's another factor to look at, how consumers are reacting to this whole, what they see as changes in the economy and the fluctuation of the dollar. They react to that too.
Yeah.
And this lends itself to the question of the inflation basket. Because if it is that inflation is below 5%, the lowest ever, when you have an undulating dollar, you may be high this month and down next month, and your gains covers with your losses. So there are businesses that may make some extra money this month and lose some next month and balance enough. So you almost get into a predictive game of where you put your prices and where you peg your dollar and for how long. But at the end of the day, you know, the research Don does for the Chamber of Commerce, as he mentioned, he deals with facts and what is there. As a business person in the chamber, we can speculate. Don is not so privileged.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
You know, I tell you something on that exchange rate, you know. I've heard people who are out there buying dollars speculating say, you know what, the way it moves, once it got at 132 or so, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
Because I know it's going back up.
Yes.
And you know, it's a game.
Principle of speculation.
It's a game one can play. But you asked a question earlier. You know what fills the void when it comes up. And you know, tourism has been a success story. A lot of time and investment have gone into tourism. The BPO is a strong industry. It has helped significantly with the reduction in unemployment, and that in fact fuels the economy because it puts more people to work. But when you deal, for example, with fast-moving consumer goods and you sell a product, you know, let it be milk or whatever, flour, you know, or oil. You can't just take up and say, okay, I'm going to sell to Japan or I'm going to sell to Thailand or Australia. You have to go out there and build a market and you have to influence the consumers. Whereas the tourism market is a easier catch, and we have done well at it. It has been a long road, and through successive governments, we've
invested in it as a country heavily. I don't know if we've done the same kind of investment to try and get the industries that produce here to take them to markets in other countries.
Well, you know, that becomes another story. It becomes a story of energy cost, and security cost is a big one.
I mean, tourism is our comparative advantage.
Yes, it is.
Exactly.
It is.
You know, I mean, we do have good IT infrastructure, which has led ourselves into the BPO sector. So, you know, I think Jamaica is in a strong place. Businesses are doing well. One sees it on the stock market, you know, because one of the things quite brilliantly, I think, you know, the last Wigton share, you know, that brought in how much, over 20,000 additional investors into the stock market, you know, because at one time people say you put your money under the mattress, another time you put it in the bank. No, you're putting it in the stock market, and I think that's good capital for businesses to achieve growth. And I think that is happening, and by achieving the growth and the government divesting their investments in Wigton, you know, they said they're going to do the highway, and they're also going to do the JPS shares. It passes it on, it gives them the capital to put in the infrastructure, you know, to allow the country really and the businesses and the consumers to grow. And
gentlemen, hold the thought. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the crime side of things and how that affected the dip in confidence. After the break.
Internal audit. Internal audit service is vital when organizations aim to achieve reliable financial reports and regulatory compliance, navigating risks, streamlining operations, and promoting stakeholder confidence. The benefits of a high-quality internal audit are limitless, especially when you secure yours from a firm with deep industry experience, exposure to hundreds of organizations, dedicated professionals, and proven methodologies. Whether you're looking to establish an internal audit function, attain or maintain compliance with various regulations, mitigate your risk of fraud, or gain an overall assessment of your internal controls, you can count on Dodge & Global for reliable and timely business solutions. We've helped organizations nationwide and across industries to establish internal control structures, create an internal audit function, or improve an existing one, and maintain regulatory compliance. We provide ongoing education as regulations and public perceptions change. We are trusted advisors for management and boards. External auditors can be confident in our work and its results. Let Dodge & Global be a turnkey solution for your organization. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Welcome back to On Point, folks. We're talking about the results of the latest business and consumer confidence surveys and the dip in those numbers, talking about it with Larry Watson and also Don Anderson. Gentlemen, thanks for staying with us.
Our pleasure.
Patria, before the break, Patria spoke about crime, which is something we wanted to talk about. What was the story on that, Don, coming out of the survey?
Well, you know, over the last 7 quarters, crime emerged as the #1 deterrent to greater investment. That's the bottom line. Businesses were saying, you know, we know that there are all these various measures, the SOEs around the place and what have you, states of emergency here and there. And we've seen a dip in crime, but again, it's like the indices, you know. When you're at a high and you see a dip, you don't want to rejoice. So businesses are still saying that crime is a major deterrent in my whole psyche to invest. There's no question, it's impacting my business, and if we could control that crime situation a lot better, we believe more businesses would be prepared to invest and invest heavily. But it's a major deterrent.
I was making the point that you're the numbers man, but anecdotally, you get mixed reactions from some business folks, because certainly on the smaller end, you hear some of the SMEs saying, some of these crime prevention tools, I have to suffer for this to work. My business hours are shortened. My customers aren't coming out because they're either afraid or they don't know what's happening. And so you kind of get this chicken or an egg situation. Yeah. Where do we go in terms of fixing this? How do we get to a place where confidence rises? Are these measures going to create it? Do we need something else?
Well, just before you come in, Larry, you have to recognize that in this scenario, which is why you have numbers like 30% and 70% and so on, because there's a group the smaller group, clearly, who are being severely handicapped by this fact, and maybe the larger, more corporate entities are not to the same extent. So this is what gives you a relativity in terms of the numbers. You know, you're going to have a group of people who are being more seriously impacted by the crime measures than others. And that's the reality in Jamaica right now. That's the bottom line.
But with respect to crime, let me give you some firm numbers. When the question was asked in the survey, what was the most critical issue that needs to be dealt with in Jamaica? In this Q4 2017, 68% of the population, of the persons surveyed, businesses and consumers, said crime. By Q1 2018, it was 74%. Then the state of emergency started in January. It dropped to 65 on Q3. By Q3 2018, it was down to 46. In Q4, the rhetoric started that the state of emergency was not going to be extended. So the conversation started. And then it went up to 57%, 53, up to 63 in Q2, now back down to 59. Now, so that just gives you an indication that the persons reacted to the reduction in crime. This is not saying the state of emergency, the SO is good or bad, not affecting, but the key factor that affects businesses is crime. And the state of emergency may cause some business to have to close early, whatever it is, but at the fundamental part of it, where we need to reduce crime. Surveys, solid surveys by the IDB have shown that if Jamaica had the crime rate of Costa Rica, we'd be growing at 5.8% a year.
Which is significant.
Which is significant because the money,
3 times.
Exactly.
That's 3 times. So, at the end of the day, on the wall, in the boardrooms, in every room in Jamaica, it is crime. And we have to learn. We have to learn, all the businesses and consumer, the PSOJ has Crime Stop, we have police lines. We have to get the confidence that as Jamaicans, we have to go out there and help our security forces in really harnessing this monster and bringing people to book.
How do Jamaica's biggest money earner, which is tourism, and the thing that cripples us most, crime, survive in the same space?
Because I think the crime is constrained to particular areas, and whereas we may have a number of 1,600 crimes, murders a year, it is very geographically segmented, which is why you're seeing, for example, within St. Catherine, parts of Clarendon and the western parishes, the SOE is trying to
But the
isolate.
press isn't managed that way. The internet, everybody before you go to a country, you're going to read the newspaper headlines, you're going to, and still we're hearing about record numbers of arrivals. We're hearing about the actual earnings from tourism growing.
Because I do believe that the global population, they are mature, they understand that crime is a reality. They understand that within the hotel sector of Jamaica,
They're safe.
They're relatively safe, and they're going to.
But Larry, wouldn't you say that one of the ways that we have managed crime though and kept our tourism numbers up is all inclusive?
All inclusive.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I mean, a lot of kudos to them for creating that product. Because if we didn't have that,
we would be in real trouble.
But a lot
We
of
have
that
some
is to the
serious
detriment of average Jamaicans who are being left out
Yeah,
of
but
the
you see,
income
it's a-
loophole.
It's a balancing act, the whole way down the line. I was going to make that point about the all-inclusive because to a large extent, tourism thrives even in Montego Bay, where we're recording highest levels of criminality and murders, because the tourists to a large extent are insulated. No question about that. And this is one of the things that has allowed us, despite the high crime level, to be able to grow tourism. And in the last quarter here, we are seeing where businesses are saying this is an area to invest in. It's the principal area that they're indicating they could invest in, which is tourism.
In fact, the morning when JCC survey came out, I don't know how Minister Bartlett got the copy of the survey. I don't even know if we sold him a copy done. But
I'll leave that to you.
I know that at 2 o'clock, he was having a board meeting on the tourism pension fund. And he mentioned the results of the survey indicating that tourism was a bright spot, for investment, and he was bringing people to it. But I think with the all-inclusives, every room you have 1 to 1.5 Jamaicans employed in that property alone. That doesn't necessarily count the transportation, the security, the tours, etc., etc. So tourism is a vibrant industry, so is manufacturing, so is BPO. And I think as a country, we have to look at what makes tourism successful and ensure that we diversify our base into manufacturing, into agriculture, to ensure that not only tourism is there and BPO fueling the economy. I mean, one can see with the reduction in the projected growth rate of Jamaica, although currently it is still twice what it was the last 20, 30 years.
It's still maga.
It's still maga. And one hiccup, Gisco, when closed, BAP you lose 1%.
One hurricane.
And that must show us
Absolutely.
that we need to ensure that not only tourism and BPO, but agriculture, the manufacturing sector. I believe the manufacturing sector was what? Then it's 15, 18% of this economy. Today is 8 or 9. Why is that? Not because people don't want to manufacture and export. It's because the infrastructure and the facilities
and
being put,
policy.
And policy, has stifled the industry. We better wake up and smell the coffee. Because if we don't get these policies right, and set this economy level, not giving one industry a blight and then holding down another industry, the trajectory of our country is in trouble.
But one of the things I want to talk about, Larry and Don, is that with tourism, I look at it from not just the point of view that we're getting 4 million tourists or so much money, but the opportunity cost. Because the truth is that when I go downtown Miami and I want a room for a night, which is not an all-inclusive at a Crown or one of those places, it's $300 a night without anything. You have to pay for all internet.
Exactly.
You come here, you get a room for 200 and some all-inclusive. So isn't crime one of the things that is depreciating our value? And we really should be making twice the amount that we
I have no doubt about that, But another point comes to mind, a study we did maybe about 3 years ago for the Ministry of Tourism. And one of the critically important highlights of that study was the call from locals for a greater degree of community tourism, taking the tourism to the people. Because again, here's where you have a spin-off in terms of benefit to the locals that they believe they can offer that would boost the tourism industry. Of course, counter to that is the all-inclusive, because they're not really coming out to the extent that the community can interface with them.
I want to
So
look
a very
at
important factor that people were highlighting in that study.
I want to look at the consumer confidence numbers a little bit more, and what that means for business community, for average Jamaicans and the way they live every day. There's been a drop there, albeit not as large as the drop as the business confidence. And I want to tie it to remittances, the fact that we're still very dependent on remittances as a country. And when we come back to that place where we've got the United States, where there are tensions, we've got Brexit and the UK where we get our remittances from, where there are tensions. What does that mean for the consumer confidence perhaps next quarter and the quarter after?
Well, we're seeing some very interesting trends developing with the consumer confidence. And I'm glad you mentioned remittances, because this particular quarter, third quarter in 2019, recorded the lowest incidence of remittance inflow in terms of numbers of persons who say they're receiving remittances, down to 33%. It's the lowest it has been across the 10 years that we've
Is that good or bad?
That, to my way, could be bad. It actually is a reflection of two quarters of decline in the number of persons who say they're receiving remittances, all right? And that to me is a reflection of where the money is coming from, United States, Britain, Canada. All three have challenges of their own. They had an election in Canada yesterday or thereabouts.
But Don, it also in my mind speaks to, and that's a trend that I think would be interesting for us to look at as a country, the dynamics between who is sending money and who is left here. Over the years, it's changing. You don't have the barrel children as much anymore because we're sending for them. You don't have the kind of connectivity between the people who are there and those who are here. That's going to change over time.
One thing is constant is that wherever the remittances are coming from and whoever is sending it, the use to which it is put has remained the same. They're using it to maintain a standard of living which they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. It's meeting daily household expenditure. And that is something that is consistent over every quarter that we look at. 60% close to that use the money for daily survival.
Purely on speculation, there has been, over the last couple of years, there has been some challenges within the remittance industry with respect to money laundering and the scamming, the lotto scamming. And as a result, there have been a tightening of persons, you know, when you're going in to collect remittances, which put pressure on the legitimate person collecting remittances and others. And it is only time will tell if this will have a long-term or a short-term effect. Because as Don says, you know, it was 36% in Q1, and in Q3 it was 33% getting remittances. Is that, he's not here to say it, but is that affected by the state of the U.S. economy? You know, is it because of the activities of ICE in deportation?
I think the big concern is, to Don's point, people are not getting this money and buying luxury items and living a jolly good life. They're paying light bill. They're buying goods that are manufactured in Jamaica. So it's going to affect the spend to the Jamaican manufacturer.
But is it just, could it be that technology has now overtaken us, so that instead of sending back money, people are paying this from over there to here and not sending back the money? Or because it's much easier to send things now, you know, people are sending goods?
I think this is something that we have to look at in the next study, for example, and it's not too late even though fieldwork has started for the current quarter. Every time we generate some data and report on it, you can see how you could probably have added a question or two, or, you know, to that data. So I think this is something we want to look at. So we have to look at the cold, hard facts as we see them. People aren't using the money for anything except meeting
basic necessities,
sending their children to school, buying food for the table, living.
Yeah.
You know, that's the bottom line.
And, you know, other things too, for example, customs has made it easier to send in a barrel, and you know, so when you get a barrel, you know, that may be in lieu of. And you know, when one uses courier, you know, you have a duty free up to 50 US. So, you know, there are areas where you're seeing spikes in the, or a change, you know, in what people are doing. But
or they might send the money in the FedEx package itself.
Or like too, you see?
Well, FedEx sometimes opens it, but most times.
Yeah.
But you know, I think the reality is that remittances is a very, very important, and it's a foundation part of our economy, like tourism, like BPO, and make no bones about it. We have as much Jamaicans outside of Jamaica than we have in Jamaica. And that's the same thing in Mexico and other countries that, you know, that have heavy migration.
Let me take us outside of the strict scientific kind of data that we generate, because quite often what helps us to understand a lot of what we generate is anecdotal data that we get. And we do get a lot of information from people who are saying, well, boy, you know, ICE and whatever is happening in the United States is impacting, you know, the ability of people to send money across, the fact that people aren't overly ready now to identify themselves.
They're lying low.
Exactly, you know. So it's difficult to measure the correlation between that, what's happening in the United States, and what's happening in terms of remittances. But anecdotally, people are saying these are things that are impacting the ability of persons overseas to actually send money.
I don't know if you measured it, I don't think you did, but I do want to look at employment and where we go in terms of, it's gonna affect the consumer confidence and their ability to spend their own disposable income. We see the jobs being created, you talk about in tourism and the BPOs, and a lot of those folks are folks with a skill or folks who are educated. What we're not seeing is the creation of jobs at that base level of people who we hear 2 out of 3 leaving school without a high school degree. We're still not seeing the job creation for those folks. What does that mean for the Jamaican economy? What does that mean for crime?
Well, I really think that whole educational aspect is critical to our long-term development, and ensuring that we have a school structure, an educational structure that educates more and more persons with it, and because the world is going that you'll have laborers, but that is becoming a smaller and smaller component, and more labor becomes skilled. But I do believe places like the educational institutions, you know, the population of the educational institutions are really growing. I think it is much easier now that even if people leave high school and they get a job, they can go to university part-time on a Sunday and a Saturday in the evenings and educate themselves. I think within the BPO sector and the hotel sector, there are tremendous training ground. And the institutions themselves offer training in the hotels. I mean, you go to some chain hotels, there are people who won't hire a person in the hotel industry unless you have worked for Brand X, because you know that the training there is first class. And so I think there are a number of areas. I mean, even, where I work at Seprad, we have an internship program where you bring in a number of persons and you give them the work experience. And it's very successful,
Well, on that point, I think it has been a very interesting discussion, but as unfortunately, we're out of time. But we must do this again, eh?
We must.
Absolutely.
There's a whole lot of things.
Next quarter we'll touch base with you again.
So much.
Okay.
Very happy to be here.
Right, so
Thanks, gentlemen. I
for
appreciate
joining
it.
us. And when we come back, we'll have the numbers and the word on the street.
Corporate restructuring services. In today's evolving commercial and economic environment, businesses are continually seeking opportunities to manage operating costs and tax positions, as well as contain cash expenditures. Entity structuring can help achieve these goals, but often presents many challenges for multinational corporations. In addition, the OECD's Base Erosion and Profit Shifting (BEPS) proposals are expected to impact the bottom line of affected organizations and result in some business restructuring. Crow Jamaica delivers an integrated approach to clients' corporate and reorganization needs. Services include simplifying group structures, executing domestic and cross-border transactions including mergers, demergers, disposals, and company migrations, transferring assets and business units, aligning legal structures to business models, establishing national or regional hubs, converting subsidiary company structures to branch structures and vice versa, integrating legal structures following a merger or acquisition, providing practical advice and assistance throughout the planning, development, and implementation phases of corporate reorganizations. Crow Jamaica assists businesses and other advisors in developing and implementing efficient, cost-effective legal structures and business operating models. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email people@crowjm.com. Website www.crowjm.com.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to On Point. Jamaica's unemployment rate continues to trend at record lows. A few days ago, the Statistical Institute of Jamaica released the numbers. Here's more on that.
In July 2019, the unemployment rate was 7.8%. That's 0.6 percentage points lower than July 2018. The unemployment rate for youth in the age group 14 to 24 years declined to 20.2%, a decrease of 2%. The number of persons in the labor force was 1,360,800, with 1,254,100 of them being employed. The male labor force increased to 735,900 1,500 in July 2019, and the female labor force increased to 624,900. The occupation group clerks employed 101,300 persons in July 2019. The group professionals, senior officials, and technicians had 271,000 persons employed. The industry group construction provided jobs for 101,100 persons in July 2019. This was followed by public administration and defense, compulsory social security, which employed 68,900 Jamaicans, and real estate, renting, and business activities, which employed 93,600 persons.
So last week, Friday, U.S. rapper Kanye West staged his pop-up concert in Emancipation Park called Sunday Service. During the concert, merchandise branded Jamaica with the Jamaican logo were being sold on Kanye West's website. Now, Minister Babsy Grange shut it down. She ordered that those merchandise stop being sold. So the On Point team went on the street to ask, should the government of Jamaica allow Kanye West to sell Jamaica branded merchandise?
No, I don't think that Kanye West should benefit from using the emblems without the country benefiting financially, because Jamaica is a brand, and we have athletes who put us on the map, entertainers. So unless he's going to benefit or the country is going to benefit, I don't see why we should allow him to use our coat of arms and emblems.
No, because he's not Jamaican. He's from overseas, and why are we going to sell out our culture? We can't do that. That is not right.
Yes, he can, because he's promoting the country.
I don't believe that should happen, because in America you cannot do that. If you were to go ahead and just sell people merchandise without their permission, that would be a serious lawsuit in America. So therefore, we Jamaicans need to protect our merchandise and not just let it go away like that. So I don't believe that should have happened.
No, I don't think so. Because it's Jamaica's emblem, so I don't think that should be something that's been sold all over the world without permission, that is.
There's rules and regulation. If we go America, we have to have certain authority telling us we can do and we cannot do. You can't break the rules for can and cannot do. What you can do, you do. What you cannot do, you don't do. So I don't want to say nothing offending Kanye West, because of God. And there's nothing to me like God. So just keep it real. Keep it on a level way. You and the government good, abide by the rule, and we're good.
Great design is not only how things look, but also how well they work. The GLC, more than meets the eye.
It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test. It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test.
Free eye testing is back and it's here to stay. Island Eyewear offers free eye testing every day, all day at all locations island-wide. Conditions apply. Make your appointment today at www.islandeyewear.com or call us 630-1180. Island Eyewear, your style, your price.
It's Island Hour, free eye test.
What a show.
Yeah. You know, the consumer, the confidence numbers index, you know, I remember when it just started, and it has really become a staple in you know, the numbers that we use to help us to guide with the economy. It has been getting a good run, you know, in terms of going up. I expect it will come down, but the truth is that, as you say, a 9% drop is significant.
It is significant. And my question is, what do we do with this information? So we know that there's been this 9% drop in business confidence, consumer confidence, not as deep a drop, but a drop nevertheless. What do we do with that? Is that simply an information tool, a dipstick of where we are, and we kind of watch a trend?
No.
Or is this
no.
information that we actively do something
You
with?
use it. Let me tell you what happens. I mean, other countries like the US, when those numbers come out, they're very important. Because if consumers have a fall in confidence, it means that you can expect that consumers are going to buy less. If consumers buy less, businesses are not going to make as much profit. If businesses don't make as much profit, then the investments on the stock market, for example, is not going to do as well, you know, or you're not going to have economic growth. The reason why business index numbers fall before consumer confidence numbers is because businesses are more sophisticated and they have a longer term view on what's happening. So you always find that consumer numbers follow the trend of business numbers. So I always look at it and I say, well, if businesses are looking at things this way, they are seeing a sign that we're not necessarily seeing yet, you know? And if consumers are not feeling good about the economy, then, you know, and then when you combine that with all the things about the talk about a pending a recession that might come up, the Brexit fiasco, the Middle East fiasco now,
to pay attention
the US thing.
Definitely
you know,
something to pay attention
it's
to.
something to look at.
One of the other things that came out very strongly in this conversation is the cost of crime to the country.
Yeah, yeah.
That people, not only in real terms, but also just their confidence, the way they feel about business in Jamaica, about living in Jamaica, that crime plays a big part of that.
Yeah, and you know, I don't understand why we can't deal with it, because it's not really a murder problem. The problem I think that we have is a law and order issue, you know. So that we just can't seem to get a control of our society. You know, everybody do what they want to do. One of the biggest problems, and I think it comes directly from politicians, and they are the ones at fault, is these informal communities that develop all around the place. You can't police them, you can't collect garbage from them, you know.
That's a whole nother discussion that we have to have on another day, because there are some crime issues, and that certainly can't be as easy as, I mean, you and I sitting here and pontificating about what it is, because if that were the case, it would have been solved a long time ago.
But then over 40 years now, you can't deal with it.
It's on water. On that note, folks, I've got to say thank you to all the folks who make the show happen, the hardworking crew on the other side of the camera. Thanks to you for tuning in week after week to On Point. I'm Patria K.
And I'm Dennis Chung.
See you next week.
On Point was brought to you by Dargin Global.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life's rooms art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access. Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Hi, my name is Diane Plummer, and I'm the Managing Director for Your True Shade. So the program that I participated in was Creating Wealth, and it would give viewers an idea of the different processes in Your True Shade, taking the products from the raw materials to the production and then finally to the consumer. Being on Business Access TV has definitely impacted my business because Since the feature was aired, I got a lot of calls asking about the products, where they can get products, and asking additional information as well. Another thing that I did was to actually link the video to my social media posts so that persons can actually learn more about the brand. So for persons considering BATV, I would definitely recommend it because you will definitely see the payoff for it. Persons will definitely be interested in finding out more about you as well as your brand.
Your business matters. Promote it on Business Access TV. Call our sales partner Yellow at 936-3940. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Our collective histories are often captured on film, video, audio, or digital formats, and through these, we engage to learn about the past and to share our own histories with future generations. Today, we join other countries in observance of World Day for Audiovisual Heritage, under the theme, Engage the Past Through Sound and Images. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I am Theodore Henry. Stay tuned.
Water is precious. So we encourage everyone to practice the 4 R's of water conservation. Always remember to reduce your use of water wherever possible. Replace water wasting devices with water savings devices. Reuse water wherever possible. And wherever leaks are found, please repair them and repair them quickly.
Don't delay. Practice the 4 R's of water conservation today.
Music is an important part of our history, and it's through music that many of our stories have been told. Today we take you on a musical journey into the world of reggae.
From deep within the archives, on reels no longer supported by the platforms of a technological modernization in the transmission of sounds and images, comes the story of a people and their relationship with the music they have bred.
Reggae! Reggae! Reggae music is bass, brother.
Yes, sir.
Reggae music is roots.
Not the dread.
Yes, sir. Is our kind of music that, brother? What me say?
If reggae can ever be edged to a set place, then 13 Brentford Road is its home. It was here at Studio One in 1968 that Rocksteady briefly went back 20 years, married the folk rhythms of Mento, and gave birth to reggae.
The new art form experienced its share of birthing pains as the so-called elites of society struggled to accept its revolutionary presence, while those from whose experiences it sprung cleaved onto this evolution in expression.
Reggae music is something that I think most of our people are ashamed of. I don't know why this should be, because it is coming from our roots. So much people are naked like them shame.
I agree.
Truly.
Sure, them just shame what truly belongs to them. What me say?
That's what we steal sometimes, do I?
Truly.
Well, I think that the rhythm is very good, and we like it a lot in Jamaica here. As myself coming from New York, I only thought that I would dig soul music, just, you know, funky music. But as I hear the reggae music, I like it.
I like reggae music very much because, right, it shows a lot of culture, right? It tells from the plantation days, the type of music the people used to sing, right? And it sort of reveal what really was going on in that time, right? Up till now, right?
It's something you can't just sit down and listen to. You have, you know, you get the feeling to move.
reggae music is a high child music. Same way like how soul music belongs to stage, reggae music belongs to Jay. And my favorite artist are Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Probably because it's part of me, you know, and we create it, I don't know, but I think I enjoy playing reggae very much.
I really dig reggae music, but whenever time I hear reggae music, I feel like dancing, you know?
I'm in a dancing mood.
Generations later, and the narrative retains echoes of past sentiments with the addition of new layers.
Reggae change, I can say like it changed a bit, you know, but still reggae beat. The old one is better, the new one not much to me. I just love the old stuff.
When I'm working, I listen to my music, keep me going, you know.
If me go dance on them music then I'm play, I don't really stay there.
It means everything. It's a part of Jamaican's history, so it defines who we are as Jamaicans.
It means everything. It means love, it means peace, it means understanding.
Reggae is a lifestyle. Reggae is a lifestyle, you know, Jamaican lifestyle. Yeah, even the lifestyle where you live, because even didn't tell you any form, you know, so you work hard every day, hustle hard every day, and music, so it's reggae. So, reggae is life, man, you know?
Reggae has become what some prophesied, a few decried, and almost none could truly imagine.
Reggae is no longer seen in the world as alternative music or third world music or new wave music.
It's doing good. I think a lot of guys who make a lot of money from it, but it is good. I think maybe probably next to tourism.
People know Jamaica not only for our sand, sun and beach, but they know us for our music. So when you go abroad and people be like, you're from Jamaica, you know Bob Marley, you know such and such, all because of our music. So reggae is our definition of Jamaica.
It is the strongest component in the brand Jamaica construct.
Reggae artists and those who specialize in its offshoot dancehall have won major musical awards. In life and past death, its greatest ambassador retains an undeniable international presence that has demanded respect from world-renowned publications. Since 2009, the entire month of February has been dedicated to its celebration at home. It was instrumental in garnering capital Kingston the designation by UNESCO as a creative city of music. And in 2017, the Jamaican government submitted a nomination dossier to have reggae inscribed on UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage for humanity.
This international protection instrument will ensure that the origins of reggae and its derivatives are appropriately documented and safeguarded for present and future generations. It is fascinating to reminisce on the early days when Jamaican music struggled to germinate, and the pioneers were classified in some cases as undesirables right here at home.
But even then, in its infancy,
Well, I think that reggae is a good music, here to stay, and I think reggae music belongs to us, and we ought to show it, right?
And now,
reggae is hot commodity and the world has embraced it, but we are proud to declare that we still own it.
Respect must be given whenever respect is due. One more time, let's give it up for Jamaica and reggae music.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come scam. Take time running, now we ready for the ops. Drive up on your block, step out now me block. Cyber take about your laptop, pull up every lock, no evidence to drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the underground. When you say scam, you better look out fit. When you move corrupt, better look out fit. Feel say you get wet, look out fit. Look out fit, look out fit. From you say scam, you better look out fit. When you move corrupt, better look out fit. Feel say you get wet, look out fit. Look out fit, look out fit.
proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
We know about Bob Marley and his influence on society with his music. In Trenchtown is where he recorded hit songs and created many musical memories. Today, the Trenchtown Culture Yard is a designated heritage site. I feel like I'm giving away too much information at this point, so just watch this.
Some call it the Hollywood of Jamaica, while others refer to it as the cradle of Jamaica's music. This place is packed with history, and lucky for you, we will be exploring some of it today.
This culture is a museum, you know, and it's a history of Trenchtown. It has a whole lot of legacy in it.
Yes, the Culture Yard, which is situated at Lower First Street in Trenchtown, is one of the many houses built by the Central Housing Authority between 1940 and 1949. These government houses were built on 200 acres of land and subdivided to facilitate a residential community to be called Trenchtown.
Trenchtown itself, it was named after a person, and the name of that person is Daniel Power Trench. Daniel was born in Jamaica. His mother was Jamaican, but his father was an Irishman. So Daniel's father came to the Caribbean, basically, to the business, and he met this woman. They got married and had 14 children, and there comes Daniel. Greenwich Park Estate Land, that was the name of the estate that was owned by Mr. Trench. And what had happened was, before Daniel died, you know, he was born 1813, he died 1884, he actually left that land, the estate land, to last his family at least 99 years. And what had happened was, there was a huge earthquake in 1907 that had destroyed the estate land beyond repair. So later on, the land became a squatter settlement. You had persons who started to squat on the land, and afterwards now you find where the government came in and had asked the family to sell the land to them. So it was sold to the government, and that's when the government now divided the land in different areas.
On the land, the government built 4 different blocks of houses, namely H, S, T, and U block. On the U block is the Trenchtown Culture Yard. People travel from near and far to learn about the phenomenal history of Trenchtown and the successful people and musical bands it has produced, such as the Heptones, Abyssinians, and the Wailers. Within these walls, visitors also get to observe furnishing and instruments used by the musical icons who once lived here, including the great Bob Marley and his mentor and co-writer, Vincent Tata Ford.
So Vincent Ford, this is all his writings on the wall. This is him. This is his furniture. This is his Bible.
It was in this space that the popular Bob Marley hit, No Woman No Cry, was penned. In this song, listeners are able to get a feel of some of his experiences while living here.
His first vehicle of what he owns, his first acoustic guitar, the single bed of what he sings about also is there. And there are many bits and pieces of Bob that is still here.
It's emotional.
After an emotional tour of the rooms and galleries, visitors get the chance to wander the courtyard, where they will find this fascinating statue of Bob. And this captivating mural of the culture tour. But the tour of the Culture Museum and Yard is just one of 3 tours available to visitors.
So normally we offer 3 different tours. The tour 1 is just inside the Culture Yard itself. You get a guided tour with one of our tour guides, and it's just a tour inside of the galleries. We offer a second tour. That tour takes you to where Bob Marley's mom lived when she came here in 1956, and Bob was only 11. So that house is basically not just Bob Marley's mother's house. That is also where Bunny Wailer lived. Because, you know, Bunny Wailer and Bob Marley, they were stepbrothers and they share the same home. We also have different craft shops in the area where somehow persons can make their own money. So the guides would walk with you there. There's also Trenchtown Ceramics, where the persons, they make ceramics out of our own Trenchtown clay. And at the end of that, it stops at the recording studio that we have in Trenchtown called the Jamming Studio. So there, persons, the guests get an experience of how the rhythms are made.
It's evident that the Culture Yard is a must-see for anyone who wants to learn more about Bob, Jamaican music, and the phenomenal evolution of Trenchtown. It's no wonder the site was declared Jamaica's first inner-city heritage site. The venue opens every day, 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Mondays to Saturdays, and 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. To arrange your visit or guided tour, all you have to do is contact tour manager Sophia Doe at 876-859-6741.
Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this rich cultural experience.
Motorists, when driving on the road, here are some simple reminders. Look out for and extend courtesy to all road users. Give plenty of room to pedestrians, especially in wet weather. Drive slowly. No bother wet them up. Slow down when approaching a pedestrian crossing or school, and always be prepared to stop. Remember, a school zone is a 30-kilometer zone. Cut your speed. Drivers of large and slow-moving vehicles should always keep in the far left hand of a dual carriageway. Keep it simple. Drive left and pass right. These are just simple reminders of your road duties. Drive safely.
Over the years, the JIS has captured so much of Jamaica's history through the use of photos, videos, audio, and even print. It is your go-to place for all things Jamaican, especially historical places of interest to visit across the island.
It's one of the oldest parishes in the island that might have been originally named after Thomas Hickman Lord Windsor, the then governor of Jamaica in 1662. Seated in a right angle, bordered by the spellbinding St. Andrew on the west, the picturesque Portland on the north, and then gently washed by the waves of the Seine Caribbean Sea.
Bienvenido a St. Thomas.
Welcome to St. Thomas. Full place. St. Thomas, we're there.
St. Thomas Adena, welcome to St. Thomas.
However you put it, we're there, St. Thomas. Join us on this travelogue. We'll be moving throughout the creases and corners of this beauty, turning the pages of our local history book, in which you will see the old Borden Wharf, Judgment Cliff, Roselle Waterfall, and other places. The cliff high above the Landaway community in St. Thomas at first glimpse appears to be just like any other overlooking the parish. But take a second look and you'll notice that a section of it is completely gone. Known as Judgment Cliff, it got its name from a story of how an entire community was wiped out during the 1692 earthquake. It's a story that passed through generations in the community and one that residents readily recount to passerbys like myself.
Judgment Cliff, I was informed that they used to have a plantation up there run by a serious, wicked slave master. Imposed draconian measures on the farmers, and one of the reasons why they resided on the cliff, that in case the slave wanted to run away, they would have difficulty in doing so. The place collapsed. I guess during the same time, Port Royal earthquake was taking place. That was 1692.
It was a plantation to people who lived there too. Everybody get covered out. Then say, when it happens at night, They say a man, a rooster, and a bull save. The man gone out gone wild. The rooster fly off of the roost. The bull broke down the pen, gone out, gone wild, same like the man.
We're still set on traveling this allure, blessed indeed by the events of history. Right now, we're headed to a gem up the road on the corner. Tumbling over the rocks onto the roadside is an area known for its pristine waterfalls and fishes. The Roselle waterfall is used for bathing and even for washing by residents or those passing by. It was once a busy area for commerce and entertainment prior to Hurricane Dean in 2007. But despite that, residents still enjoy the untouched water and how it seemingly removes all pains and ills. And from that water that falls, our next stop is a spot where the residents fish.
This fishing area named Lethal Beach, right? When the weather good, we go to sea and fish. When it's bad, we have to stay on the land. Well, we're doing this about some 50 years now, and we do it for a living. So I maintain the family. We have to prepare the net. We buy the net ready make, and we put on the fittings towards it. We put on the lead and the cork and so on. Like what you see it here now, we put it in the boat and go out and fish. We catch all type of fish. We catch snapper, we catch parrot, drum, barracuda, doctor fish, all type of different fishes. Sometimes tourists pass and them take pitch down and all them kind of thing. And them like when they're knitting in it, sometimes they spend all the day with it. This is my daily living, and that's something that I enjoy all my life. I don't know that's work but fishing now.
Back in the days, over Bournemouth, they usually do export a lot of things over there. We even use our small canoe and go over there to fishing through the day. It's just across from the other side of the fishing village.
St. Thomas is a major growing area for food such as banana, coffee, coconut, sugarcane, and even for fishing. It houses one of the island's natural deep water harbors that was once used as a port for exporting these same food items. Now, we couldn't come to St. Thomas and not mention anything about our national hero Paul Bogle or the popular Morant Bay Rebellion.
Yeah, the Morant Bay Rebellion took place at the Morant Bay Courthouse with Paul Bogle and his followers marching from Stony Gut to Morant Bay.
Poverty and inequality in the society forced Paul Bogle to lead the protest march to this courthouse on October 11, 1865. In a violent confrontation with official forces, nearly 500 people were killed and more were flogged and punished before order was finally restored. On October 24, 1865, Paul Bogle was arrested and executed at this very same spot of land, the Morant Bay Courthouse. And just like that, we've ended our tour in this natural and material beauty, unfolding the stories behind just a few places. If you haven't been here already, then what are you waiting for?
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash no paper, no dash no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
I was born here, and I was raised here. Resilient people, a tropical island. Oh yeah, and I like to smile. Here I learned what love is. Authentic Jamaica, the happiest island. Oh yeah, so let's remind ourselves and tell the world hello. I'm a Jamaican. We are Jamaicans. Hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican. The energy is our people proud and strong. When we stand together, we're rising for better. Oh yeah, we're many but one. Together we will strive. When unity is our strength, we rise from our struggles. Oh yeah, so let's remind ourselves and tell the world hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican. We are Jamaicans. Hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican. Jamaicans, I really love you. We'll smile the way right through. We're third millennium. I really like you, forever love you. We are wonderfully great, but happiness at all. Now, tomorrow, forever. I really like you, forever love you. Jamaica, 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 Jamaica. So let's remind ourselves and tell the world hello. Hello. I'm a Jamaican.
Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Join us again tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Send your feedback on today's show to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. Also, follow us on our social media pages, that's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Download our app on your Apple and Android devices, and you can also visit our website at jis.gov.jm for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
My name is Christelle Harris. You're watching Business Access TV. Serious about business.
CARICOM News Time is brought to you by Dargin Global.
CARICOM is deeply concerned about political crisis in Haiti.
CARICOM Secretary General, Ambassador Erwin Larocque, says the health and youth of the region are the wealth of the region.
And young people overflow with creative ideas for business. This is the CARICOM News Time for the week ending Friday, 18th October. I am Tusankin English Francis.
And I am Michelle Nurse with the details of these and other stories. Thanks for joining us.
Chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet of St. Lucia, said that the community is deeply concerned about the political crisis in Haiti. The chairman highlighted some of the steps CARICOM has been taken in regard to Haiti, including discussions at the level of CARICOM heads of government and with the United Nations Secretary General. The chairman indicated to the media recently that CARICOM stands ready to mount a good officer's prime ministerial visit to Haiti, but first needs its imprimatur.
The health and youth of the region are the wealth of the region. CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin Larocque expressed this sentiment at the just concluded Caribbean Congress on Adolescent and Youth Health in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. Ambassador Larocque assured the regional and international partners of his commitment to continue to engage with adolescents and youth to address the issues concerning their health and well-being. The Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, one of the organizers of the conference, said the event is a launchpad from which advocates, health and social workers, policymakers, academia, clinicians, and young people themselves can heed the call towards improving their health and well-being for the future development of the region. Describing the conference as a suitable opportunity to discuss those issues, the Secretary General said that the voices and concerns of our youth must be heard and addressed as the community seeks to define the world in which we live today and tomorrow.
It was recognized that NCDs have implications not only for our health, it also has serious social and economic repercussions. Caribbean countries are among the worst affected by NCDs in the Americas. A recent study in one of our member states showed that the cost of dealing with NCDs is as high as 5% of GDP. And physical inactivity in particular are areas of significant concern with regard to childhood obesity. In the midterm, obesity in children represents the greatest threat to the health of future generations. In many CARICOM member states, the level of overweight and obesity is more than 30% in both primary and secondary school populations.
The Congress was the first of its kind in the Caribbean.
Linkages between statistics and the functioning of economic sectors and in the realm of social development were highlighted on Tuesday during a panel discussion to mark Caribbean Statistics Day. The discussion was held at the CARICOM Secretariat and was one of the activities to mark the day, which is observed on the 15th of October. Panelists placed emphasis on agriculture and information and communication technology sectors.
But artificial intelligence applications and services, all of those things are around the policy and governance environment which the single ICT space is bringing to the region. I put big data analytics in yellow because that is perhaps where in this modern space statistics and ICT find a happy coexistence. And big data is just a lot of data in bigger data sets, but we need statistics to be able to, statisticians to be able to analyze it, and it is really just a big block of statistics put in a certain way for persons to deal with it. So in that ecosystem, statistics and ICT find a little good happy space there in big data analytics. Of course, there are other areas of synergy with ICT and statistics.
And certainly from the
last week's quoted meeting that we had, the whole questions of regional stats, provisional regional data, all of that became even more important. Our program is guided by the Caribbean Community Agricultural Policy. And the aim really is to, as written here, to reduce levels of imports, food imports, enhance food security, create additional employment, and again, reduce poverty in the region. All of those words that I've spoken about can be measured. And it suggests baseline. And how do you get baseline? There has to be some stats.
Guyana has welcomed an agreement by Trinidad and Tobago to remove restrictions to trade in pineapple and peppers. On the 17th of October, Guyana's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that the National Plant Protection Office of Trinidad and Tobago had informed the Guyana National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute of the amendments to the trade arrangements with Guyana. The removal of restrictions by Trinidad comes about a month after technical officers from both sides met at the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries of Trinidad and Tobago. Subsequently, Foreign Secretary Carl Greenidge met Trinidadian officials on the margins of the United Nations General Assembly to further discuss barriers to trade between the two CARICOM member states. The statement by the Foreign Affairs Ministry said that local farmers welcomed the removal of the restrictions.
Guyana's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has announced that the General Council of the World Trade Organization has approved the extension of the waiver of the Caribbean Basin Economic Recovery Act, CIBERA. The act allows for continued duty-free access of eligible CARICOM goods into the U.S. market up to 2025. 17 Caribbean countries, including those of CARICOM, are beneficiaries of preferential tariff treatment intended to support development of regional economies. The trade program was set to expire at the end of this year. The community had advocated for extension on a number of occasions, including in June 2019, during the 8th meeting of the CARICOM U.S. Trade and Investment Council. In 2019, CARICOM exports to the U.S. accounted for 32% of its global exports, while imports from the United States into CARICOM amounted to 36% of CARICOM's import from all sources. Among the products eligible on the CIBERA are textiles and apparel, energy-related products such as petroleum and methanol, agricultural produce, and processed foods.
Guyana's acting Chief Justice, Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire, on Wednesday refused the fixed date application for Guyana's president and members of his cabinet to resign. In her ruling, Justice George Wiltshire noted that the matter of the no-confidence motion and its effects were ventilated by Guyana's final appellate court, the Caribbean Court of Justice, in July. As a consequence, she said that there cannot be any requirement for a mandatory order compelling the cabinet, including the president, to resign. There's a new head at the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, familiarly called the 5 Cs. Dr. Colin Young was appointed Executive Director of the regional institution. His appointment takes effect from the 6th of January next year. He will succeed Dr. Kenrick Leslie. A Belizean national, Dr. Young brings more than 14 years of executive leadership and management experience in academia, civil society, and public sector institutions. He most recently served as the Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Forestry, the Environment, Sustainable Development, and Immigration, with responsibilities for climate change and the Ministry of Energy, Science and Technology, and Public Utilities in Belize. Dr. Young has also served on numerous boards, including the Green Climate Fund. He currently serves as the CEO of the Belize Social Security Board, a post he has held since January 2017. Dr. Young holds both a Master of Science and Doctorate in Ecology from the University of Connecticut, United States of America.
The region can expect to see exponential growth from small and medium-sized enterprises in the future, as more young people in the region are being taught about business ownership. CARICOM Secretariat's 10th EDF Creativity for Employment and Business Opportunity (CEBO program has been moving apace. So far, youth in Haiti, Jamaica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, as well as Belize, have participated in entrepreneurship workshops. The workshop targets young people from all walks of life as a means of countering youth unemployment, mitigating drug abuse, crime and violence, and fostering economic resilience. This phase of implementation also focuses on CARICOM nationals who have faced involuntary separation from other countries. The emphasis on this particular demography is linked to CARICOM Regional Crime Prevention Strategy, which proposes actions to address the determinants of crime, including reintegration of deportees. Deputy Program Manager for Gender and Development at the CARICOM Secretariat, Ms. Anne-Marie Williams, spoke about the significance of the workshop at the opening of the session in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Monday, the 14th of October.
And in our region, the Caribbean region, young people are both the perpetrators of violence and the people who are affected the most by violence, in addition to women and children. This CEBO training is designed to create economic resilient citizens and by extension, communities. And that goes for the community of St. Vincent.
The next round of the workshops will be held in Barbados, Belize, and again in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Take a look at some of the scenes from the closing sessions of 2 workshops in Jamaica recently.
So, if I come here and get a little experience here, I kind of get the grasp of how to own my own business, how to start, where to go, and how to come by. So, for example, from choosing my research, I learn how to launch my own t-shirt line, and so far it doesn't take 1 day or 2 days. It have to take good teamwork and effort to get what you want.
I have gained the knowledge and skills to step forward, own my own business and run it efficiently. During the process of this workshop, I have gained better time and team management skills. I got to see how it is to own a company while working with a team and playing the role of the head.
In the best way possible to create or continue your business. You have great ideas and you can use those ideas for your betterment. Okay? So just do that.
You guys were given, well, not even the entire duration of the workshop. You guys were given 2 days after the basic introduction to business fundamentals and entrepreneurship to basically brainstorm, start a business, assign roles, put together a business plan, and then come to the CEBO bank, pitch that plan, and not only pitch it in an emotive or emotional way, but pitch the plan with logic to say, hey, I'll be able to make this amount of profit.
So what we tried to do, well not try, but what we did actually is to ensure that when you purchase a small bottle, a 10-ounce bottle of Jamaican jerk rub, you are literally ensuring, you are facilitating the juiciness, the flavorfulness, the turn-upness of your chicken.
It's been a long week. Well, thank God for the blessing. For the journey, the earnings are just for the plus. Yeah. Gratitude is a must. Blessings fall. What's that tune for the friends with the top of the Lord? One time and sit down in a class of a board and all is said the road. Go on with it.
For more stories, you can visit the CARICOM news site at today.caricom.org or the CARICOM website at caricom.org.
Like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time.
CARICOM News Time was brought to you by Dajin Global.
Outsourced finance and accounting service. Growing companies face a challenge. For you to stay focused on building your business, you need solid financial management with a dependable accounting function, a resource you may not have in-house. That's where we come in. Dajin Global provides startups and other businesses with outsourced accounting and finance solutions on a fixed fee basis. No matter what your size or fundraising status, we can tailor our services to fit your needs at every stage of your company's life cycle. Whether you want to add expertise to your existing team or completely outsource your accounting and finance functions, we offer reliable and economical options, including accounting system installations and upgrades, from simple to complex, help establishing preferred banking, legal, payroll, benefits, and HR relationships, paperless online bill payment and bookkeeping, financial reporting and advice for management and investors, financial statement audit management, sales tax compliance. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dajin.global. Website https://dajin.global.
It's Season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Evelyn Harris is a maroon healer in Jamaica. She has spent decades making a living from her knowledge of Jamaican plants and their healing properties. The products she makes from these plants are in constant demand, and she's happy to be able to help others. She is symbolic of many persons in the Caribbean whose traditional knowledge is a rich and often unacknowledged resource.
You have to be curious to learn about herbs. This is dog's blood, and this one is good for infection or black tube. And this one is piaba, and the piaba is what good for women who's going through menopause.
She, like many others in the region, can share stories of how her knowledge has contributed to research without being properly credited or compensated. But all that will change as more Caribbean countries are getting on board with a Nagoya Protocol that will protect knowledge held by persons like Evelyn and will serve to preserve the natural resources she depends on. The Nagoya Protocol is an international agreement that focuses on the fair and equitable sharing of the benefits from the sustainable use of genetic resources. It is an agreement that researchers and prospective business developers that use the Caribbean's natural resources need to be aware of.
The Caribbean region has an abundant variety of marine and terrestrial biodiversity, including a high number of endemic species of flora and fauna. This richness is combined with a mix of cultures and traditional knowledge. Also, it is clear that Caribbean countries recognize the importance of their unique genetic resources and associated traditional knowledge, and at the same time know that sharing the benefits of the utilization of these resources can be a way to protect the rich natural resources and bring prosperity to Caribbean people.
The International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, in partnership with the United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, and the Global Environment Facility, GEF, is working with regional governments, research institutions, and other partners in the Caribbean to support countries to promote the sustainable use of the region's resources.
The needs are envisioned at 3 levels. One is at local levels, working with local communities and indigenous groups. The second level is the national level, working mainly with government and key line agencies that are going to be somehow responsible to implement the protocol, that have competencies according to the national law and the international legislation. And the third level is the regional level, working with CARICOM, for example, with OECS, other regional bodies like tourism organizations or other pertinent bodies that has responsibilities as well in the provision of the Nagoya Protocol.
Regulations will also be established for prior informed consent to access resources and the negotiation of mutually agreed terms to maximize the benefits of the protocol.
The Nagoya Protocol specifically deals with the issue of access to genetic resources and the sharing of the benefits that are gained from those resources. Now, if you think about the issue of sustainable development, if you think about the issue of natural resource management, it is necessary for these countries, who in most cases are small island developing states or developing countries, they need resources to be able to protect these natural resources that we have, these genetic resources. And so any avenue that is going to assist with making sure that some of these benefits come back in order to sustainably use these resources is something that the IUCN is always interested in providing.
The Bahamas, for example, is a hotspot for access to genetic resources for research and development. But only in one case of successful commercialization has benefit sharing with a country on the basis of an ABS contract took place.
There is a soft coral, which is a wavy coral. It's harvested annually in the Bahamas, and an extract from that was the first source of the chemicals which are used today in skin revitalizing anti-aging creams. One of the researchers from the University of California came to the Bahamas and discovered a class of compounds which have anti-inflammatory properties. Later on, over 100 products in the world have been developed from the extracts from this coral.
For practitioners such as Dr. Sylvia Mitchell, the protocol will change the way how local communities and indigenous people like the Amerindians, Maroons, and Rastafarians operate.
The indigenous and local communities have to be part of the process. A very important part that the Nagoya Protocol recognizes in this whole value chain is that there are local indigenous communities all over the biodiversity-rich areas that have over many, many generations developed recipes. And when you develop products in the end, many, many years later, creams, anti-cancer, whatever, many times that traditional knowledge has been taken into account, but it doesn't filter back to those local communities.
Several Caribbean countries have already started putting in the framework to benefit from the implementation of the Nagoya Protocol. In Guyana, certain key steps have been taken.
Guyana already had a system in place with regards to granting access to its genetic resources. And that system is basically done through the Environmental Protection Agency. We're the agency responsible for granting all access to persons coming into the country to do research. If persons want to enter a specific community to access a specific resource, they have to get the consent of that community. When that consent is received, what they do is they have to submit that to, we have Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, and they would usually issue official permission saying the community has no objection with this person coming in to do such and such. When we have that, then we would issue our permit.
For Antigua and Barbuda, much has already been done, as these islands are in the process of depositing their ratification instrument.
This project will allow us to develop our regulations, to develop our policy, to set up our institutional infrastructure to now manage the issues. We don't know when any genetic materials and the associated traditional knowledge are being taken out of the country. We're not aware. It's only those people who will inform certain agencies or certain government agencies that they're taking them out. That only happens occasionally. But in instituting this Nagoya Protocol, in instituting our ABS regulations and policy, we'll be able to finally have a system to regulate this process.
The Nagoya Protocol is helping to preserve traditional knowledge that could be lost as elders die.
Over a period of time, people will come there, people have their complaints, people want to be treated for some ailments or whatever, and people just come to folks who do what they have to do for them, but not necessarily telling them, you know, what is it I have done for you. Okay, if you come, you have a problem with your belly or your back or your shoulder or whatever, you will get the treatment for it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna know all the ingredients and stuff that goes into it. And even sometimes people would probably show to you, you might see an ingredient or two that they use, but it would be probably the least important of the ingredient that you would have seen.
As the Caribbean embraces new opportunities to benefit from our biological resources, we look to the future.
I represent 11 parishes across the island which have a membership about 5,000. These are traditional farmers who have been growing marijuana illegally for years. Now that we are on the way to have a formal industry, we are working hard to allow standards to fit their needs as grassroots people while working with governments and agencies across the world.
The Nagoya Protocol is opening doors for Caribbean people.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access. Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV is here at the Carib Cinema for Yellow Digicon 2018, dubbed Digital Marketing Innovation Ready for Tomorrow. I'm your host, Amita Prasadwe. Please stay tuned to Business Access TV for highlights.
As businesses, we need to recognize that consumer-centric advertising, consumer-centric marketing needs to be the order of the day. Because the consumer now has a lot more options. That is because the internet and technology continues to permeate globally. So there are actually over 4 billion internet users globally. That was since the beginning of 2018. And that represents over 54% of the global population. And that number continues to rise. Over 3.2 billion social media users, 42% penetration. Did you know that your WhatsApp, which is very popular in the Caribbean, there are over 38 million messages sent every 60 seconds. In every 60 seconds, YouTube, there are over 4.3 million videos that are viewed. It means that with this proliferation of content, brands have to wade through all of that information, all of that noise, to be able to zero in on who the customer is. And that is why the customer has so much power, because they can choose not to be exposed or to consume your information. Social media is excellent, and the Google Display Network, pushing ads, is excellent at bringing interest, bringing awareness to your brand or your product. But having created that awareness, what then? Are we still expecting that customers will actually buy the first time they become exposed to your product? That, if you are expecting that, then you're in for a rude awakening. You have to court them. They have to be channeled or ushered along the sales funnel. And so, after they've been exposed to your brand in the mobile app, on a website, on social media, how do you communicate? What is your value proposition? And that is when you usher them down now to hopefully a place, an online asset that will be able to communicate more directly. Usually that's a customized landing page. Usually that's your website or to your mobile app. Something that will be able to create that dialogue. And that is where things like search engine marketing will come in, and things like remarketing, different online assets, digital marketing tools that will be able to continue that conversation until they get to the point at which they say, yes, here is my money in exchange for that good or product or service. And beyond that, you continue to develop that relationship, again incorporating social media. But the strategy from your social media at that point must be different from what it was in just bringing general awareness. Because now you're developing an advocate relationship. One of the most important things that come out of the millennial mindset is experience, experiential marketing. Focus on the experience, both online and offline, because everybody's aware, I'm sure, that if you have a negative experience, that will cost you in terms of time, in terms of money, in terms of reputation. And so guard your integrity, guard the experience with your business fiercely. Not every product that you offer will appeal to everybody. Understand who is your ideal customer for this product or service or brand at this particular time. And once you develop that persona, you start to collect information about them. Things like, what platforms do they use? Are they on all multimedia? Do you use TV here? Do you use outdoor? Do you use mobile only? Do you use social media? Where are they located? Where do they work? Where do they live? And so where do you reach them? What are the attributes? What are they interested in? Because if they're interested in motor vehicles, then you can reach them while they're looking at something related to motor vehicles. Because you're focusing on the individual. Ensure that your website is mobile friendly, is mobile enabled. Because we know that most of the searches, most of the interactions will come from a mobile device. And if your website is designed or optimized for a desktop device, then chances are the mobile experience will be less than optimal. We're talking about the future, eh? Customers now are demanding not only to have a good experience on your website, and that's it. Because they're not staying in front of the computer all day. They want that same experience on their mobile device. And it follows them in store. And from in store, back to the website. And it continues, it's seamless. That doesn't just happen overnight. And we as businesses in Jamaica and in the Caribbean need to understand and ensure that we embrace that.
Your audience seems very engaged today. What's the feedback like?
The feedback has been phenomenal. We did this same exact conference in Cayman. We had about 140 people. The feedback was good. We now have close to 400 people here today, and the feedback is much better than it was in Cayman. I think the energy, the questions that are coming out, the insights that are coming out, I think is good. Not only in the quality of the presentations, but also the content that is being disseminated to a wide cross-section of businesses, small, medium, and large. And I think based on that premise, I would regard today's conference as a resounding success.
So how much of a positive impact does digital marketing conferences like these have for Yellow Media Group?
It has tremendous value as it relates to establishing and reinforcing Yellow Media Group as a leader in the digital space, not only in Jamaica, but across the region. As well as, and I think more importantly, a very positive impact on our customers, because the truth of the matter is that while we do sell digital, this conference is not only designed to focus around products that we sell. It is intended to really raise the awareness and the strategy level that businesses can utilize digital marketing and the different tools and the different benefits to incorporate and fine-tune their own strategies to be able to step into the 21st century and actually reach their customers in a meaningful way and maximize that return on investment.
As 2018, the digital marketing space continues to change. What would you say are some newer challenges that are now facing the Jamaican digital marketing landscape?
I think one of the major challenges I have found is that there is not an aggressive adoption of the importance of digital marketing to most businesses. Fact of the matter is that still it's regarded as a bolt-on. It is a whatever budget is left after we've done everything else that is important that we'll dedicate to marketing and then digital marketing. Because of how digital marketing is firmly rooted in the core structure of most businesses, I think local businesses need to more readily embrace the importance of digital marketing in actually how to reach and communicate with customers, generate leads, and then focusing on how to move those leads through the sales funnel to an actual sale, and better yet, get them to become loyal, become brand advocates. And so, businesses I think will definitely benefit more in terms of revenue from courting existing customers rather than investing over and over just to court brand new customers.
When it comes to the world of online reviews, one of the things that's really important is to engage with them, right? You cannot hide from them because they tend to have this sort of inevitability about them, right? People are going to be online looking at businesses, trying to find out information about online reviews one way or the other. If you're not on a review site, it's really important that you put your business on review sites because frankly, consumers more often than not actually have the ability through the platforms to list your business on your behalf. But why are consumers going to review sites in the first place, right? Why are consumers going out there and why are they going and seeking out this information on businesses that they're going to spend money with? And why are they doing it in droves? 97% of consumers last year used an online review site to find a local business. Raise your hand if you've ever looked up a business online before you went there. I expect everybody's hand to be up, right? So why are they doing this? Well, online review sites are no different than word of mouth, right? They are pretty much exactly the same. But rather than listening to one person at brunch or at church or in your community center, whatever it might be, you're getting the collective knowledge of a group of people, of an audience of people, so that one outlier tends to be balanced out. Businesses can say whatever they want about themselves. World famous, grandma's best, world renowned. Rashid called me an internationally renowned speaker. Thank you. I'm a take it, right? Because I can take a compliment. That's an art. but that might be a little bit of an exaggeration. But the point is that brands can say whatever they want about themselves. And consumers are savvy to that now, right? They're sophisticated, they're educated. They know that a brand can say whatever they want about themselves. So they're going to go out there and they're going to do their due diligence. And they're going to go out there and see whether or not a brand is truly being authentic, right? Are they truly measuring up to the promise that they're putting out there? And brand promise is such an interesting idea, right? Brand promise is so complicated because brand promise is no longer a mission statement. It's all of the things that are out in the world that are about your business that, when summed, equal your brand promise. When you're setting yourself on a local business directory or review site, the thing that's really nice is you don't actually have to go on there and spend that much time proactively managing it. Maybe it's something you check once a week or every 2 weeks, whatever it is. But you do need to take a little bit of time to set it up and make it unique. So make sure that you're in the categories that make the most sense for your business, but also make sure that the way that you're talking about your business is compelling, right? Photos are going to be a really big differentiator between you and people and other businesses in the area, because that is a much more telling idea and much more telling example of what you do and what makes you so unique. So make sure that you're uploading at least 10 photos to your pages. And with your photos, don't just do your logo and your product offering and whatever. Focus on the people and the team, because that is the heart of any business. It's the people who spend so much time doing that, right? Next thing, set yourself up to start taking some reviews and those business details, right? Do you take credit cards, things like that? Those are the little things that consumers might be looking for that it's going to be really, really helpful to have on there. Just like Rashid was saying, if you have beach access, you want to make sure that those types of additional details, because you don't know how consumers are searching necessarily, you want to make sure that you're casting a wide net for everything that you do. So don't get lazy. Make sure that you take the time and you set yourself up correctly, and then every 6 months or so, update as there are changes to your business. So again, basic business information about your business and photos. If one person has given you a negative review, that means that there are 99 people who probably thought the exact same thing, but never took the time to write it down. So as a business, the people that you should be afraid of are not the one-star reviewers. It's the people who walk away and don't tell you why they're walking away. People walk away and say, I wouldn't go back there, but never tell that business why. Because the one-star is, they love you enough to tell you why they hate you. Right? They're giving you the feedback to improve and to grow. We spend over $500 billion a year on advertising, about $9 billion a year on customer service. That is such a disconnect, because it's your existing customers who are going to drive the most revenues for your business. So that's why the final step here is staying engaged. Stay connected, stay logged in, check your page, deliver feedback in your weekly team meetings, whatever it might be. Make sure that you are staying on top of it and that nothing is slipping through the cracks.
What are your thoughts on Yellow DigiCon?
I'm excited. When I saw it at first, I was like, okay, I need to see what I can learn as much as possible, because I'm at a stage where I'm trying to grow. And I think this is very good for someone who's trying to grow not just their business, but their self and their experience.
It's relatively early, but have you learned anything thus far?
Definitely. I took some notes, especially with the presentation by John Carl about the reviews. That's where most of my notes came from, because it's not something that was at the forefront of my mind, but now I'm considering everything that might be as of equal importance as many other marketing functions that I do.
So give us some feedback on your presentation.
So one of the things that I noticed with the audience is, one, the amount of energy was insane, but also the kind of fear of online reviews. And I think that's a really natural thing. I think people tend to be nervous that, I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to get rejected or I'm going to get negative feedback, which is a natural fear when you're a small business owner and your reputation is a lot of times tied to your revenues. But what people don't understand, I think what people need to embrace, is that every single business, every single person has the opportunity to improve and the opportunity to grow. So online reviews and feedback is the only way that you can do it, and it's the only way that you can really build a sustainable business. So I think that was one of the most exciting things to communicate to people, is that online reviews are not something to just be afraid of. It's something that you embrace and you use, and is a tool that can help you be better every single day.
What are your overall views on Yellow DigiCon?
I think this conference is wonderful. Anytime that you can get people out of being in front of their computers or off their cell phones and in person, you will always like the connections that you make in real life are so valuable and more valuable than the connections that you make solely digitally. Connecting with somebody in person is much better than connecting with somebody on LinkedIn because you actually get to experience and understand and learn about that person. And those connections, from a small business perspective, are the ones that you can take back to your business and that then become tools for you, not just kind of these amorphous alien, interactions.
Stay tuned for more Yellow Digicon after the break.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Stay current and gain more information on the ever-evolving industry of real estate on Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back and thank you for joining Business Access TV. We go straight to stage with the Yellow Digicon 2018 highlights.
So let's talk about the new global customer, okay? The new global traveler. Because you need to understand what those expectations are in those consumers that are coming into your market, who are actively looking for you while they're here, okay? So they value your local perspective. We want authenticity, we want adventure, we want jerk chicken. And we want it on the side of the road, right? That's what we want. And I'm gonna search for jerk chicken at the side of the road. So we gotta engage, we have to listen, we have to respond, and not just for 2 reviews, always on, right? And further than that, we need to know if it's working. We need to define our success metrics. And most importantly, we need to tell our stories. The expectation now is that consumers, not just travelers, but consumers want direct connect with brands. They expect immediate responses. They expect accurate information. Don't send me in the wrong direction with an unmarked pin on a map. That's not going to make me very happy. Also, surprise and delight me. Tell me why I need to come to you. Give me that excitement about why I need to come to you, because sure enough, I'm going to share my experiences. I tell you, whoever's followed me on Instagram, look out, because there is just, a slew of my adventures happening in my stories, and because you know what, that's what I want to do. I want to show. I'm not going to lie. There's a bit of a snowstorm in April in Canada right now, like a really bad one with ice. Guess what I've been posting? That's right. Sun, cocktails, on the beach. I'm having fun in Jamaica. That's right. So I want to do that because we like to brag, right? So leverage that. Create those opportunities to engage and listen and share that stuff because they want you to be the personality. So if we're listening and responding, that means we could actually be listening and responding even on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. With posts like this from real people, we could be responding to them directly. We can find this content through hashtags, right? And, listen and sort of respond. And if you are that brand, not the thank you for posting, but, great shot, or ask them even to use their content. Video content is king. Also is live streaming. I'm sure many of you are. Is anyone live streaming this right now on Instagram or Twitter? Very big trend, very big trend. And now, I can tell you right now, I was Facebook Living as I was walking on the beach to my kids. They weren't too happy about that. Oops. But it is a really big part, right? So share that content. Use your social pages to reshare that content. Comment on those user posts. And it's not just Instagram and Twitter, it is also YouTube. It's also other social channels, it's review sites, okay? So mix up this content. Now let's take it back to how you can actually leverage these trends and leverage these conversations, right? So here we go. A couple, really cool things. I was so happily surprised last night when I was doing some searches for some local businesses that were doing a really great job. Are they in here at all? Right? So their food is good, but guess what? They're also really good at sharing their stories. And they're also really good at listening to their customers. So for example, there were quite a few posts on these with comments saying, what was this one? I went for dinner last night and you were closed. Perfect opportunity, right, to listen and respond, saying, we are very sorry we missed you. We'll be waiting with your favorites tomorrow. Simple. Simple. It's the best marketing vehicle there's ever been. It's got to be authentic, very authentic. Not, we've got a special on moringa. That doesn't work anymore in the conversation economy, right? It needs to be a very powerful narrative. So the pushed out content, or I would call brand owned content, should be incorporating the same tone, right? So even your brand's posts that you're putting on to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere need to kind of adjust to be more conversational and creative, right? And to invite responses. Facebook and Instagram specifically are a pure media channel. No free reach, pure media channel. Although very efficient and very effective because massive population of people are communicating it on and around it every single day. So yes, you need to be there, right? You need to be unique. You need to show that off. You need to be fun or quirky, if that's your brand. Or you need to be really reserved and smart, if that's your brand. This is what you need to do. You need to resonate with your target audience. Your content, your personality, your conversations, this is the new marketing, okay? Shift it a little bit more. I'm gonna get a little bit deeper because this is part of it, okay? You also now as a business need to be always on all the time. This goes beyond the review sites. This goes into Facebook reviews, Facebook send messages. How many in here have their send message enabled right now? We're getting to a place where we as customers expect it always on. If it can't be on, then you create sort of a frequently asked questions and can I see a menu, that sort of thing. But you need to show that you're always listening and responding. Note that customers today expect a 6-hour response. I would say on Facebook specifically, I'd say that's shrunk, okay? So reviews are also happening on Facebook and they're very important, okay? Facebook reviews are extremely important, as are all of the other review sites, equally important. Directory sites and review sites such as Yellow are extremely important, and you need to listen, you need to ensure your listings are accurate, and you need to drive those customers then to a conversion, okay? And if you don't do that, to the reference John made about Googling it, you won't appear. So actually reviews are now impacting your distribution and your ability to be found by customers. And this is across the board. This isn't just Yelp, this isn't just TripAdvisor, everywhere, okay? So they need to be managed. So respond quickly, encourage reviews, and always answer.
How important is it for business owners, marketing experts in general, to learn the fundamentals of digital marketing?
That's an excellent question. I just had that same discussion. I would say that fundamentals have to be there, everybody, and I just discussed the fact that I believe, especially here in Jamaica, you have a very young, vibrant business community, it seems. The fundamentals are the key. So what I would say is that the universities around here and the education, that is your opportunity to get the fundamentals into that next up-and-coming group, and it's critical because the other thing is this space and consumer behavior will continue to evolve. So if we have a great grasp of kind of how we've gotten here and how quickly that has changed, but we understand it's basic marketing. It's no different, it's just online.
What would you say are the main takeaways of your presentation today?
Well, I had some other great colleagues who talked a lot about strategy and return on investment and how to measure and what resources and reviews and how to apply. So my background is really in tourism and hospitality as well as strategy. So I really felt that because Jamaica in itself is such an iconic travel brand and you're known across the globe. So it was my opportunity to say, hey, these conversations about your brand around your core brand pillars like your music and your culture and the people and the food, these are the things that you can tap into, right? So I really talked about untapping the potential of the buzz and the conversations going on, and not just on the social networks that you're comfortable listening to or engaging in, but really honing in on what are your inbound travelers expecting from you and where are they going to talk about your brand. And so really I just talked about, I gave some examples on how to listen, how to respond, not to sell, and really just focused in on that potential.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access. Business Access. Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we knock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV. Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art, I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
How many of you all use a marketing plan on the daily basis? You execute it. Ooh, 1 out of many. 2, 3, maybe 10, right? For the rest of you, how will you think about how you're executing marketing tactics without a plan? You don't know what to do. You don't know your expectations. And so you celebrate that one kind of comment. Who posts and they get one comment and they go, yay, social media. Right? It's so true, right? You go, yay, this works. And then you get no sales from it. No one's converting. And you go, boo, social media, I hate it. Well, we have to start realistically understanding through first developing a marketing plan so you can understand what a lead is and your expectations. Next is you don't have a focus. No, you don't. You may believe you do. So target marketing is crazy. It can be crazy sometimes and very difficult. So how many of you all right now in your marketing campaigns are targeting more than 4 target audiences?
Yeah, I know, you're out there. You don't want to raise your hand, right? Because you know where I'm going with this, right? One target audience. You got one target. How many of you are targeting? What are you targeting? Nobody's targeting? You're not doing business? You're just kind of waiting for them to come? You're going, whoever buys my business, I'm all right with it, right? I want that to stop, right? I want that to stop. I absolutely want you to start developing a more focused marketing plan so you can get the leads that you want. Because who wants to make money? All of us, right? Next is, we confuse sales efforts with marketing efforts. So you believe that your marketing is going to get you paid. So listen closely to my simple solution so you can understand. Marketing gets you leads, sales gets you paid. So now we're going to start focusing on practicing more efforts that will get us leads so that we can cipher into getting paid. Here's the reality of marketing. It is for your customer for tomorrow. Marketing is about sustainability, not immediate profitability. And so we believe that if we do marketing, that tomorrow you will get paid. And it's not true. Tomorrow you will have the interest and attraction of a person when you market correctly. On the top half of our funnel is marketing efforts. It's awareness and interest. The bottom half is decision and action. Marketing, especially in social media, is going to help you get attention so you can get interest so that you can start to do sales activities to have them make that decision. So we have to figure out how many leads is possible and how many leads you want to get when you're marketing, when you're doing your marketing on to social media. So how many? What does that look like? 80-20 rule. Anybody know about the Pareto rule? I know, right? So at first glance, this says 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Now that sounds pretty cool, right? You mean to tell me only 20% of my efforts? I could do like 20% and like I'm gonna get 80% reward from doing 20%? That's not what it means at all. You guys know this, right? So in marketing, it's 80% of your leads should come from 20% of your marketing. That means your marketing has to be so tight. It has to be so direct, so specific that you're getting the majority of your leads from it. So it actually means, this Pareto rule means that you need to get more efforts, more tight with your targeting marketing. So how do you do that when you generate leads? It's going to help you to increase your sales. By condensing down, you're going to be able to expand yourself. I know that sounds kind of crazy, like retract to expand. Absolutely, because you'll have more focused efforts and you'll be actually attracting the people who want to buy your things. So it is important to know that when you get better leads, increasing the sales is important. All money is not good money, is it, right? We have some of those clients, or some of those clients we wish we didn't have. It costs too much to even deal with them in the first place because they're not your target. You want to start really developing leads that are going to get you paid the way you want to get paid. It's also going to help you make better budget decisions. How many of you all have, I'm laughing because you're going to laugh at the question I'm going to ask you. How many of you all have marketing budgets? Great. Marketing budget. What is a marketing budget, right? So here's a simple method about marketing budgets for you. And you should have a marketing budget. We're marketers. You should have a marketing budget. How much are you willing to spend inside of the grocery store on a particular product? So think of it that way. You really need to start investing in your marketing because you cannot just post and people appear. If you build it, they won't come. In fact, you need to build it, drag them over there, beat them in the head. You have to get them to see. In fact, if you didn't know, it takes 7 times in marketing for someone to see an ad for them to pay attention. Now, how many of you have paid attention 7 times to the same ad? I know, non-existent. So I'm going to teach you some ways to get you in front of your ideal audience to help you make better budget decisions. Well, I qualify leads by the number of people that I actually talk to during the week. Oftentimes, specifically me, I use LinkedIn to have conversations, at least 10 conversations a week with people. With my percentage, we talked about 80-20, but I'm in that kind of a miracle lane where out of every 10 people I talk to, 7 of them buy something from me. So whether it's a book, because they like me. You like me. They like me. You like me. I know you like me. If you don't, you will after this. They know, like, and trust me, right? How many of you all buy from strangers? Hey, I got some shoestrings. You want to buy them? Right, the string, like, you don't need them, right? It's strange. But if you knew me and you were comfortable with me, you'd buy my shoestrings. So it's important, it is absolutely important to engage and to qualify those people that you want to buy what you have, right? Like, shares, and comments can be leads if you respond back. How many of you all get likes on your post and don't say anything? I know, right? So you look at it or you say thank you. That's polite. Then what happens? It's a lead. They're interested. They're attracted, apparently, because they took the time to like. Now, what about the people who love it, especially on Facebook? They put the love, and that takes a lot of effort because I have to move the thing, right? So that means I really like you because I took the effort, the other 10 seconds to actually place it to love you. You have to start talking to those people. Say hello to them and more than hello. Take them to your inbox. Have a discussion. Okay, so you're tired of the leads, you know how to qualify leads, you're ready to get to the good part, right? What platform should you be on to get these leads? So Facebook is large in Jamaica, YouTube is large in Jamaica. You guys are using Facebook much, much more than any platform. I'm sorry, content managers, I know you're not gonna like this. Content is becoming the new spam. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're putting out content, who's reading it? I know you're not. You're not, Joel. I know you're not reading the content. You're not reading content. So I want you to start building content for your audience. In order to do that, you're going to have to get to know them. Think resource, not retail. Stop selling to people. Nobody wants a used car salesman, please. They want a resource. They want to talk to people, right? They want to know, like, and trust you so they can buy you. And video. You cannot make a mistake with that on Facebook, and it lends to a more casual conversation. All right, Pinterest. So I know that you're using it to search, right? I want you guys to start using it to lead to inquiries because you want leads. How you can do that, here's one way. Create a contest and get them to your website, right? Create a contest on Pinterest because they're searching to get onto your website. That way you can lead them to becoming customers. Twitter. Did you know you have to tweet 8 to 20 times a day? No, you didn't, did you? A tweet life lasts 30 seconds. No. So if you're tweeting, it's the newsroom. You want to lead them to a chat. That way that they can be a lead. All of this is about engagement. Every piece of it, every piece of social media is about media for you to be social. So you have to get engaging. Stop thinking that posting and going will help you. All right, these are my favorite, Instagram and LinkedIn. This is where the magic happens in business. I told you that my closing rate is 70%. I can't make this up. I don't make this up. There is where the people, the decision makers are there. They're making decisions. Start to make partnerships. I don't care if you have your curry chicken stand on the side. It's still, you can make business partners. Maybe there's some way you can possibly. I'm telling you, this is not unbelievable. It happens every day. I can't emphasize enough that you need to start to invest in your marketing so that you can build better leads, so you can make more money, because after all, isn't that the point? Thank you, guys.
So it's your first Yellow Digicon experience. Talk to us.
Exciting. I love Jamaica DigiCon. You guys are really engaging, involved, knowledgeable. You know exactly what you want. You want to ask questions. It's straightforward. And I can appreciate that because you want to grow. Like these businesses absolutely want to grow. And I'm here to help. I was here to help.
What would you say is the main takeaway of your presentation today?
I keep it simple. Don't oversimplify the process of trying to get all this data, use all these platforms without actually creating a plan. So keep it simple.
Word of advice to the marketers here today.
Sales gets you paid. Marketing gets you leads. And you really need to understand that process first and don't discount your marketing because it's not getting you sales because it's not supposed to.
What are your thoughts on today's staging of the Yellow DigiCon?
Awesome, just awesome. We've had digital conferences in the past, but this one tops it all. I think it's just the new areas that we're featuring, mobile marketing, social media management, and social media marketing, so it just tops all the others. And of course, we're taking it from an international perspective. So far, in comparing, the turnout has been super compared to previous years. So it just shows that DigiCon is growing.
You mentioned international. Talk to us about your presenters here today.
Yes, so we have presenters from Canada and from the US. We have Alicia Whalen, who dealt with social media management. We have Sherry Washington, who spoke about, just getting leads online. And what I like about her presentation, she clarified outrightly the misconception about marketing versus sales. And based on the response from the audience, you could see that she was hitting the right notes there. And of course, John Carroll that spoke about getting online reviews. So in summary, and of course, our Google representative will be talking more about mobile marketing.
Why did Yellow feel the need to put on such a conference, Yellow DigiCon?
Because of the growth of digital marketing, we're seeing where more and more persons are spending time online. And of course, digital marketing is really showcasing your goods and services online, be it social media or through your website or through various search engines. So, Yellow would pretty much be irresponsible to not be focusing on that. And of course, our mantra here at Yellow is to just put our customers' businesses in front of their target audience.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
did you know that Google's algorithms are actually smart enough to differentiate between someone curious about learning about Jamaica, who are interested in traveling to Jamaica, who are already decided that's where I want to go on vacation, I just need to find the best deal, and who've already bought one. And it's not about personal data. We don't have that. It's about understanding the situation. What do you really want to do? That way, we can target you effectively and show you the correct ad or the correct experience and video so you don't have to worry about that. We can also learn a little bit about your behavior, Someone at the beginning with John, I believe it was, or I hope it was with John, they asked a question about Facebook and Cambridge Analytica, how it's really scary how much information companies have about you, right? Well, we at Google don't have your personal information, but we are able to identify common traits that's not identifiable to you. We won't ever be able to zone in on Daniel. Ooh, we know that's Daniel looking at videos about puppies. No. We know that there's a man who's very interested in puppies and who might be interested in buying a new Labrador. So we'll do that. We'll help. And that's what the context is all about. So that in itself means assisting someone, be able to create a business model for assistance means first, you got to show up. What does show up mean? It means, like Target, like a supermarket, it means our attention span is so short that if you're not there when we need you, when we're looking for you, you might as well not be. So let me give you an example, a tangible example that you can copy. We have Target. Target is a supermarket, international. And when we're talking about supermarkets, we're used to the idea that someone has to buy groceries. They have to drive up, choose everything in the store, and then pay and leave. But did you know that Target found the secret formula? Even though we still have to go to the store, we now can pre-shop online. So what happens if we combine the offline experience with the online? We make a seamless omni-channel transition. So what did Target do? They realized they built an online shop. Not because they expected people to buy online, although they did, but they expected to be present whenever they needed. If they were baking a cake and all of a sudden they realized, I'm out of flour, I might as well make a wish list. Hey, I need flour. Remember to buy flour the next time. I really enjoyed that chicken meal I ate, so I got to write down the ingredients. And Target helped with that, helped making a shopping list that ultimately led to people buying more in their store. It was easier for customers to remember what they wanted. So, what does show up mean? It means if you need road assistance 24/7, you gotta be there 24/7. Not being there when they need you the most, when they're scared the most, can also be the key difference between great brand image and normal brand image. It means if you're in the service industry, right? Plumbing, restaurants, guides, surfing lessons, scuba lessons, if you're not there when they need you, when they're curious and impatient in that moment, you might as well not exist. And it's not about appearing sometimes, it's about always appearing. It's about re-engaging, but not spamming. So you have to wise up. How do you wise up? Well, what if I told you that we all have characteristics, likes, and wants that we consciously don't know about? Well, Sonos is an audio company. They build stereos, right? You wouldn't expect them to need a very complex, very complete marketing campaign. But what did Sonos do? They realized that young people love an audio experience. They love quality, they love tenacity, they love power. They want to do parties at night, they want to do parties in their bath, they want to listen to music all the time. So, but Sonos wanted to engage with those users, we wanted to find them, but the truth of the fact is Sonos didn't know how to find those kinds of people. What did they do instead? They connected with online marketing, with partners and premier partners that allow them to share data, share intent with Google, with Facebook, with Yelp, with everyone. And that in itself, we helped them find the market, be able to identify between the crowd who's more willing and who's ready to buy a new stereo for their home or their bath. So that in itself, we made their targeting more efficient for them. We did all the hard work. You guys just need to be able to want it. And what did that lead to Sonos? That led to an increase in brand, 420%, like you can see in the slide. All of a sudden, college dorms, everyone used Sonos. Before, when we heard audio, maybe we thought Mitsubishi, maybe we thought Sony, Bose, but who knew Sonos even existed? And now he outsells everyone else. He's the number one, and he started small. If you don't believe me, think of the Uber example. We all thought taxi industry was going to stay the same. You know, you're in the curb, try to signal a car in the rain. But all of a sudden, with the comfort and easiness of an app, we can do it every time, every day. So help us help you grow. But to be able to grow, you have to keep up. You have to speed up. Because like I said, we got a very short attention span. Think 3 seconds. That's going to be your rule from now on. If we don't get what we want in 3 seconds, we're gone. We're that impatient with you guys. So then what does that mean? It means that you will lose half of your leads if you don't answer back in 3 seconds. And that doesn't mean a review. That doesn't mean a retweet. That means that if I want to know about your costs for dinner or your travel packages, I expect to be able to find the information in as little as 3 seconds. And since we all love our smartphones and we all love the mobile data in Jamaica, we expect that to be true. Just kidding. But there's a silver lining in it. Did you know that the world average is actually 24 seconds? So, how can the world average be 24 seconds if our attention is only 3? Well, here's the little secret for you guys. All we need to know is get some feedback. Basically, if we go into your mobile website and we start seeing some colors appear, changes, if we see that it's working in less than 3 seconds, that's enough. We'll start eventually paying attention to other information. If it ends or finishes loading in 24 seconds, then that's okay because we got our answer in 3. All of a sudden, it's like we knock on the door and we might hear someone yell, "Coming!" Then we'll wait. We're like, okay, someone heard me. It's the service is going to come. That's what the 3-second rule meant. But if I knock on the door, nobody answers or calls out, and 24 seconds later you just simply open the door, by then you're going to see nobody. That's what we mean.
Wow, it was a fantastic forum, very informative, and the presentations were they were just to the point and very interesting. There was, some of those long presentations that people will be sleeping before they finish. Nope, wide awake, very interactive. Yeah, it was great. Awesome experience.
And that's it for our highlights of the Yellow Digicon 2018. I've been your host, Amita Prasadweb, and thank you for watching Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Doggin Global Business Process Outsourcing. Doggin Global can help you with your day-to-day administrative and secretarial needs. We provide solutions for streamlining your accounting and bookkeeping procedures, so you can get on with running your business while knowing that all the accounting and statutory needs are being taken care of. Our BPO services include the following: bookkeeping, preparation of budgets, management accounts, and periodic financial analyses, provision of temporary or part-time accounting assistance, design and implementation of accounting systems, preparation of accounting manuals, payroll services, corporate secretarial services, assisting clients with their business entry strategy into the country, setting up new legal entities, maintaining minutes and other legal documents, non-executive directorships, preparing and submitting annual returns. For additional information, contact us at email info@doggin.global, website www.doggin.global.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Now presenting the Jamaica Social Investment Fund ICDP Enterprise Development Project. Entrepreneurial Grant Business Pitch.
This project is a $100 million grant that's seeking to target 50 small and micro business enterprises and give them training, capacity development, equipment, permits and license towards the development and the viability of their business. We have made a call for proposal in March of this year for entrepreneurs to submit for the opportunity to receive a grant between $1 and $5 million. We received more than 500 applications, and so we have now shortlisted them to 100. So we've invited that top 100 applicants here today, and they're going to have to pitch their business idea to a panel, and of the 150 will actually transpire and win the opportunity for the grants. One of the primary objectives of what we're doing here is employment. We want the business to be able to sustain not only the principals as the owners, but we also want the business to be able to employ at least 2 people. The next part of it, as we do in all of our projects like this, is it provides a learning instrument of how we can engage small and micro enterprises and take them to the next level.
Why we're doing this rigorous process, because we want to identify the best potential entrepreneurs to fund for this project. And keep in mind that we are speaking about a loan, so we want to ensure that the applicants are committed, and that from a sustainability point of view, that upon receiving the support from JSIP, that in 2 or 3 years, the enterprises will still be operational and the broader objective of the project will be achieved. Once we have now equipped them and they should be ready to start the production line going, we'll then have a mentorship component.
It has been a very competitive process. Jamaica is filled with persons with drive and passion. We're expecting that the best will be selected. And then for those who are not successful, we are also hoping to link them to other providers of services, because I'm telling you today, from what I've seen, it is an excellent opportunity. It's worthy of note that many persons coming here today already have some kind of semblance of a business, but they need the additional support to move that business to the another level, as well as some person that come in with just proposals to start from scratch. On behalf of the JSF, we want to really thank the DBJ and other partners from UE who came to be part of the panel, and just to remind you that the JSF is here and we're investing for community development.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.